So, what we're going to do today is dive into an entire year's worth of wisdom from James Clear's super popular 3-2-1 newsletter. We've analyzed 52 weeks of his ideas to find the signal in the noise, the really powerful, actionable stuff. Let's get into it.
You know that feeling, right? Where you have a dozen great ideas, 100 different paths you could take, but you're so overwhelmed by all the choices that you just don't do anything. You're kind of stuck in place just waiting for that perfect moment to start, but it never seems to show up.
So, to make this really tangible, we're going to follow the story of Alex. Now, Alex isn't a real person, but a stand-in for anyone who's ever felt that state of paralysis. Alex's journey is going to be our guide to see how these ideas actually work in the real world.
All right, so part one. Let's start right where Alex is, that feeling of being adrift. You know, you're full of potential, you have all these ambitions, but you're not actually making any real progress.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? Alex could see every possible thing that could go wrong, every reason why an idea might fail. So that intelligence, instead of being a launch pad to get started, actually becomes a cage. It's the classic case of analysis paralysis.
Okay, so Alex is stuck. And then something new enters the picture. It's a catalyst for change, and it arrives in the form of a super simple weekly email that offers a totally new way of thinking.
For anyone who doesn't know, the 3-2-1 newsletter is basically this weekly dose of practical wisdom. And the key thing is, it's not some long, dense essay. Its real power is in how short and structured it is. It's designed to be the small, consistent nudge toward growth.
And here's that simple but really powerful framework. Every single week, you get 3 short, punchy ideas from James Clear himself. Then you get 2 curated quotes from other great thinkers. And finally, you get 1 single question that's designed to make you stop and think. That's it. This is the structure we're going to unpack.
So what happens when you actually look at all 156 of Clear's ideas from 52 weeks in a row? Well, you start to see these powerful themes pop up again and again. You realize it's not just a random collection of tips, it's a whole philosophy for how to live and grow.
The first theme, and honestly the one that comes up the most, is this relentless push to just get started. It's all about overcoming that inertia, that little voice in your head that keeps you stuck in the planning phase forever.
I mean, just think about that quote for a second. It completely flips how we think about value. We love to celebrate the big, perfect plan, right? But what he's saying here is that the tiny, messy, imperfect act of starting is worth so much more. That 1 minute puts you in motion. A year of planning just keeps you on the couch.
Now let's move on to the next big theme, because this really builds on the first one. If taking action is the engine, then consistency is the fuel. But, and this is key, his version of consistency isn't about being perfect, it's all about being flexible and resilient.
This idea is just so powerful. The point of showing up on a bad day isn't about the workout itself. It's about casting a vote for your identity. By just doing something, even if it's not your best, you're reinforcing the idea that I am the type of person who shows up. It's about adapting, not being flawless.
And the third major theme that really stands out is this idea of managing your internal world. You know, our thoughts, our focus, our self-talk. That isn't just background noise. It's the very toolkit we use to build our reality.
This shows that resilience is an active skill. It's not about just hoping you feel better. It's a conscious 2-step process. First, you look at the mistake and you pull out the lesson. What can I learn? Then, you actively let go of the guilt, because that's the part that just weighs you down. It's what athletes call a next play mentality.
Okay, so we've got these 3 core themes: action, adaptable consistency, and mindset management. But what did this actually look like for Alex? How did it help Alex get unstuck?
Well, Alex took that bias toward action idea and ran with it. Instead of this huge goal of write a book, the goal became write for 5 minutes. That's it. The barrier to getting started was so low, it was almost silly not to do it. It wasn't about the outcome, it was all about the act of starting. And this slide just lays it all out, the before and after. You can really see the mindset shift. Alex went from waiting for the right time to just starting with 1 minute. From being paralyzed by a million choices to just focusing on the very next step. And from replaying mistakes over and over to having that next play mindset. It's a total transformation.
So ultimately, this whole journey from being adrift to being in motion, it all points to one central message that is woven through every single one of these newsletters.
And there it is. That's the core philosophy in a nutshell. Big transformation doesn't happen in some big, dramatic moment. It happens by stacking these tiny, almost unnoticeable wins on top of each other, day after day after day. Each small action is like one more brick in the foundation of who you want to become.
So if there's one big takeaway from a year of James Clear's wisdom, it's this. The power isn't in any one magic quote or idea. The real magic is in the patient, relentless process of just showing up and taking small, positive actions. It's the power of compounding, but for your habits and your character.
So we're going to leave you with this question, which came from one of the newsletters. Instead of seeing envy as this ugly, negative thing, what if you reframed it as data? It's a signpost, and it's pointing directly at something you really want. So ask yourself, who do you envy, and what is that telling you? And maybe more importantly, what's the smallest possible step you can take in that direction today?